But 20 years in the Legion will make a boy man. 20 years in the Legion and they will give you land. 20 years in the Legion, you'll always have a home. 20 years in the legions of Rome.
Legions of Rome. All right, hey everyone, welcome to How Shit Works, the show where we take a look behind the curtain of how things work in the wonderful, glorious Laurel Kingdom of Meridies. I am one of your hosts, Graf Ulrich von Brandenburg, and I'm a knight, a pelican, and a royal peer with a whole bunch of opinions. I'm joined, as always, by my tag team partner, Sir Erik Martell, the Knight of Kittens himself.
Hi, everybody. Those who don't know me, I'm, as Ulrich said, Sir Erik Martell. I'm a landed baron and a knight, the Knight of Kittens, and I also have some pretty passionate opinions. Tonight, we have the great honor of being joined by two special guests, Her Royal Majesty of Meridies and former Kingdom Chatelaine, Ysmay of Branston, and current Kingdom Chatelaine, Countess Dalla. Ladies, if you would please introduce yourselves and tell us and our audience a little bit more about you. Though I'm going to have to say, those of you who do not know the longest reigning Queen of Meridies have clearly not been paying attention, and there will be a test for later.
A test for later, because we need to bamboozle people into having a good time.
We haven't even told them what the words are yet, Your Majesty. Just get it out there early and get started.
That's right. So my name is Ysmay. I've been in the SEA since 2012. I am a royal peer and I'm a protege, which means I'm on the service path, and I'm hoping one day to be a pelican. And yeah, I love newcomers. I love having a good time. I love being around people. So I'm very excited and want to thank you so much for including me in this this broadcast.
And I'm Dalla. I'm also a royal peer and protege. I too want to become a pelican. I have a strong passion for newcomers. And I've been in the SCA for 27 years and started in Trimaris, and now I'm in Meridies, and hopefully I'll never leave because I love this kingdom. So again, thank you for having us.
You're welcome. Thanks for joining us. We love y'all too. So right quick, I want to cover Her Majesty is our first repeat guest. So congratulations on that, or condolences, as the case may be. We're glad to have you. And of course, as always, thank you, Dalla, for joining us. You know, it's wonderful to have you both here on such an uplifting and joyous subject, really, because newcomers are really the life of the SCA, and the Shadowland is the office that makes them all feel welcome. All right, so tonight's, as you guys may have figured out a little bit, tonight's drinking game words are bamboozled by Her Majesty, passion by Countess Dalla, newcomer because Jessica hates my kidneys, and the new permanent rule is every time we announce that we're going off script, we have to drink. So that's 3 words and a new rule. All right. As always, the drinking game is completely opt-in. You don't have to participate if you don't want. You don't have to drink alcohol if you don't want. It's just for fun. So please feel free to join us. The drinking game tonight is brought to you by Bourbon and Coke, drunk out of my wonderful Firehorse Bartery mug. And as always, we'd like to thank Between Two Peers for allowing us to be a licensed franchisee of their drinking game. Those ladies are fantastic. They're on a hiatus right now, but go join them on Friday nights for their very sassy show. And that's my normal intro, but I'm going to be the first to go off script and get started, because I know what Erik's first question is, and my first question is, what the heck is a Shadowlang?
That's a great question.
I'll let you take that, Your Majesty.
No. Oh. Okay.
You go
What
first.
the heck is a Shadowlang? The Shadowlang is an official officer position in the society that is responsible for welcoming new people. So they do try to coordinate classes. They try to make sure local groups have loaner garb for new people to wear at events. We kind of included a lot more things in it, I think, as we took the office over. But all in all, that's the big thing. Just welcome new people. So everybody.
And to add to that, right? We're here for the newcomers.
Well done. I see you understand how this game works.
Good job. Good job, Dalla.
Excellent. So just sort of kicking off Ulrich's off the record question, going off script like that. What are the responsibilities of the office, perhaps that you didn't cover in that statement? Are there reporting responsibilities and things of that nature?
So, yes. So we have Kingdom Chatelaine, and then we have local group Chatelaines, and we have quarterly reports. And basically those reports, we have to say, like, how many newcomers did you get in? What are you doing for the newcomers? Are you having classes? So all of these different questions, they're reporting to the Kingdom Chatelaine. And then we are reporting to our Society Chatelaine as well. So we have a boss. The Kingdom Chatelaines have a boss as well. It's the bigwig.
And then one thing that I forgot is that the Chatelaines are responsible usually for demos, like the demonstrations that occur, obviously not right now, but pre-COVID and hopefully post-COVID. And so they organize all that stuff on a local level.
Mm-hmm. Recruiting.
Right?
All those newcomers.
Oh, you beat me to it.
That's 3. You managed to work 3 into that answer. That's very well done. So you kind of alluded to this already, but right quick before I get into my question, just a quick note to the audience. Remember, we're going to cover about the first half or a little bit over of the show with the questions that we have in our script, but the last portion of the show is all about you folks and the questions that you have. So if you have questions on the subject of the Shadowlang, please post them in the comments, and Graf and Katarina will collect those and we'll answer them at the end of the show. All right, so you kind of alluded to the Society Shadowlang before, but the question was, is there a Society Shadowlang? But what did they do? Is it just a more of a macro of what you guys do, or is it more interaction with?
I think you've hit the nail right on the head. They are kind of like
umbrella.
Yeah, they're the top of the pyramid, kind of encompassing all of the Chatelaines in the kingdom. So kingdom level Chatelaines and then the local level Chatelaines. I think there's some other stuff that they're responsible for. I just can't think of it right this second. I'm bamboozled.
All right. So, do you mean what is the Kingdom Chatelaine or the Society Chatelaine responsible?
All that.
Oh, okay. Well, I am not a Society Chatelaine. However, I would assume that they were reporting to the very, 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 very top bigwigs. Would be the president or the Society Seneschal as well. But that would be my guess. But I'm not a Society Chatelaine, so I don't know what she does.
So, again, going off script before Erik gets a chance to, because Erik gets a hot take later at some point, and I don't like to keep this going. But I've heard in other kingdoms they use the term hospitaller, and then we use Chatelaine. Is there any difference in the two, or is it just a kingdom? A different kingdom policy or tradition?
Yeah, I don't think there's any difference. Right. I mean, it stands for just being hospitable. Right. Obviously, I think that's where it came from. So I don't think that they have any different roles that they do. Hi, Cole. Sorry.
Well, no, that's great. Is that your cat, Cole?
Yes, this is Cole. I do know that, like, if you go to like SCA.org, it's called a Chatelaine, but okay, censored, but they do like kingdoms can call them whatever they want, but society wise it's the word Shadowlang as far as I'm aware.
Yes.
Awesome.
You're
So
right.
first of all, you should know that should your cat show their hindquarters on the show, that's just in good keeping and good clean fun. That is this show is all about. So don't worry about it because it's definitely going to happen.
His hindquarters are bald, so you're seeing a little more than you want to see. I'm just putting that out there. So I'm just saying. You don't.
Welcome to the
nobody
show,
wants-
boys and girls.
Nobody wants to see that. And show's over. This is a family show.
Oh no. We're it's perfectly fine, ladies and gentlemen. Just remember to tip your waitress. The
Right.
7 o'clock show is completely different than the 9 o'clock.
So this might be a family show, but it's a dysfunctional family show. So don't get like too attached to those standards. So we're gonna try to get back to the show. See if maybe we can answer a couple more questions. Who knows? So
Or not.
what, if any, are the required qualifications to hold the office of Kingdom Chatelaine?
So I know. Oh, go ahead, Your Majesty.
No. Oh, I would love for you to answer this question.
Okay. So I know for sure that you have to have a paid membership to the SCA throughout the whole 2 years that you are holding your office for. And that, for me, I believe, is the only real requirement. But obviously, it would be nice, if you. Why is he laughing? What's happening?
My spouse just came in and fixed my crown because I was just frazzled getting ready and it was a little sideways.
Oh, I
Except
totally
it looked
missed
like the
it.
hands-
Sorry.
It looked like the hands of God were coming down to fix your
Cat butt and hands of God. But I believe that's the only real requirement. But obviously, it would be good if you knew people and you had, experience in doing stuff like that. But that's the only real society level requirement that I'm aware of.
Agreed. I think that it is helpful if you've been a Shadowlang before. It's also probably helpful
Local.
if you've had some years under your belt. And if
Yes.
you're outgoing and friendly, you don't want someone filling that role that's not that type of person. I think your microphone's off.
What's he
Okay,
whispering?
You're right. Katarina is feeding the dog, and I didn't want the dog to come through, so I turned it off. So I'm able to drink for being muted. That's possibly a new rule.
A new rule.
It's not official. I just wanted to drink.
Yes.
But what I was saying was me. I should not. People like me should not have that job.
I don't think that's true.
I don't think that's true either. I think that you are a wonderful and very personable person. You are.
Well,
And
I'm glad I had y'all folks fooled wonderfully.
You heard it here, folks. You heard it here, folks. Ulrich for Kingdom Chatelaine 2022.
You know one word I've learned? It's a really cool word. Wait, you ready for this, Erik? No.
We have not learned that rule yet. One day.
All right. So it's an office. Every office in the SCA runs off paperwork. We know that there are reports. What kind of reports do you guys have to send in? And does it include more than just talk to 4 newcomers this quarter and send it off? Or is it just a compilation of all the things you get from your local Shadowlangs, or what all's in it?
Do you want me to answer that, Your Majesty?
I'll answer it. You just recently did it, so.
Right. So, like I stated before, so all of our local Shadowlangs are reporting to us and telling us how many newcomers, what they're doing, and all that. And we basically are telling them, our society Shadowlang, okay, this is how many people reported for this quarter. This is how many newcomers came in. And this is what we're trying to do. These are the classes. And then they ask like, what are you hoping to do in the future? Or what are some ideas? And at first I'm like, are they really going to look at this? But
They
like,
do.
I get emails back saying, oh, I really like that idea you posted in your report. Can you put it in our Shadowlang group? And I'm like, I mean, yeah, I guess since you read it, I'll do it. You know, like I didn't know you were reading that, but yeah, I'll do that. I'll share some info with you guys.
Yeah, I was really astounded when I was doing that role that the Society Shadowlang actually sent a response and said that she loved this, whatever the idea was. And so that's pretty awesome. What was, I think also in January, is it January that you have to report the gold key?
I believe so, yeah.
It's crazy to think that you're trying to report gold key inventory for a whole kingdom. But you do. That's one of the questions that was on the form the last time I filled it out.
Which was a very long time ago.
A couple years ago. Look, I'm not the longest reigning queen forever. For nothing.
Well, we'll see.
Well, all right. So other than finding out that that there's a gold key inventory form that I shudder to think about what all is on that, let's talk about some of the aspects of the office. Do you have deputies at the kingdom level? And if so, what are their responsibilities and how does that work if you do?
When I first took the office over a couple of years ago, they only had the deputy Kingdom Chatelaine. And then there was so much stuff being done. And so I started coordinating a few other deputies' positions that I felt were important. And so Dalla has transitioned into that role, and now she can choose. I think, do you still have the same people as those deputies?
Honestly, I think that because of the whole pandemic, there's been kind of like a downward slope to activity. And so right now I have my deputy who will be taking over for me in November.
You just figured that out, by the way, this weekend.
I did. I thought I had a whole nother year. I was like, that's okay. I got another year.
I was like, it would be 2 years, 2019.
It doesn't seem like it was that long.
Right. 2020 did happen, whether we like it or not.
Right.
Did it really, though?
It totally did. Yeah.
It seems like sometimes like 2020 is still going.
Yes. True.
Yeah.
2020 apparently lasted about 40 years. Okay, so you've mentioned gold key a couple of times, and I know in some places people think that gold key coordination is really the only thing that the Shadowlang does, which we all know that is not true. You do a lot more. So what is the difference between Shadowlang and the gold key? Essentially, what is gold key for folks that are new? We actually have picked up a lot of newcomers in this off period that has been fantastic.
Which is odd. So as we kind of referenced before, whether it's at the kingdom level or the local level, if it's a larger group, a barony or whatever, they can have a gold key officer, which is basically responsible for like loaning out garb. And very currently we've had somebody that has a little checklist and they sign out their garb and then bring it back, they clean it, whatever, and bring it to events or whatever. So gold key is basically just like a deputy officer of the Shadowlang, if that makes sense.
I think it was a deputy. I think it was when that was one of the ones that I had made, because there was one a lady who actually made a spreadsheet.
Yes, that was awesome.
Yeah. But it's garb, it's belts, it's hats, it's anything that a new person would want to need to wear at an event to kind of blend in if they showed up in jeans and a t-shirt.
Mm-hmm. And we've actually done gold key for our newcomer camps, which has been super awesome.
Right.
Just dressing up the little kids and then the young adults and then the adults. And they're like, I feel silly. I'm like, you're going to feel even more silly when you're walking around in mundane clothing, you know.
Real.
It's fun because some of the garb is a little dated. And some of the garb is, you know, really, really incredible. You're like, okay, I'm going to set that one aside for me for later. No, I'm just kidding. It's not. I mean, but there's all types of garb and all types of things for people to wear. I think there's even like cups in there in some of the, my Shire of Tier Brist has a huge thing of gold key. And that was actually one of the reasons why we thought to do the gold key deputy was because there's a lot of groups that don't have as much as we do. And so we were just going to give it to them, you know, like kind of share the wealth or do like an exchange, a gold key exchange between the different groups so that everybody had gold key clothing that they could loan out.
That's a really good idea because I know there are small groups that don't have a lot, and particularly when we get new small groups. So I'm going to go ahead and bust out my hot take here. And it's going to dovetail into this question. It's really not the hottest take that I've ever had here, so don't worry too much about this. But in my opinion, sort of welcoming newcomers is one of the hardest jobs that we have in the SCA because some people, we have all heard of people who come to the SCA and heard that they felt like they were ignored when they first got here. I've also known a fair number of people who showed up and felt like they were being sold something because everyone was so enthusiastic that it was overwhelming, and it felt the word I was used car salesman. So how do you balance that, and then how do you assist the local Shadowlang gold keys in that sort of making a welcoming environment and making sure everybody knows they're welcome without it being too much?
Dang.
Well, honestly, I don't feel like, I mean, I don't know if it's me, but I don't feel like we're too pushy. Like when people like come to an event and they don't know anybody, but maybe one person that invited them, like we welcome them, like we make them feel welcome. And, you know, we want to show them all the things. And I've gotten a lot, way more positive feedback than negative. Like I've never heard somebody or tell me, hey, you're being a little too pushy with that person. Like I've never heard that. So that's new news to me. Newcomers, yay.
Oh, I'm running out of drink. This is a large.
You gotta get His Majesty to serve you.
Bamboozle him into getting you a drink.
My glass is empty.
Paging His Majesty. Your lovely wife could use more alcoholic beverage, please, Your Majesty.
Oh Lord. He's like, I'm going to put water in there. Water for sure. I could see where somebody might feel like there's too much because there's so much stuff. I mean, you go to an event, I'm going to use Fool's War because it's, you know, a big event that we do in Tier Brist. And there's usually equestrian, I think. We've got archery, you've got heavy combat, you've got rapier, you've got arts, you can go see, you know, displays, you can have parties. And so for someone who's never been in the SCA, seeing that can be very overwhelming. And so having somebody available to kind of walk them through things, I think is, there is a balance. You know, you don't want to give them too much information or you don't want to be rude. Thank you, honey.
Thank you, Your Majesty.
Your Majesty.
But so you want to give them just enough to kind of get what their interest is, maybe try to figure out, asking them like, hey, what are you interested in? Or one great thing to take them out to is the archery, because they can actually participate.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. So I've never heard somebody say it was bad, but that they had a bad experience, but I can see where that might happen just because of the nature of what we do.
When I've heard these, and I have specifically even some people that I actually brought to the SCA, so it's why I felt comfortable bringing it. It was always on local interactions. It was never like someone had come to an event. They'd come to they'd come to a fighter practice. We had introduced them around, and like 3 hours later, and it was just a surfeit of friendliness. But they were like, people I've met for 15 minutes were talking about me driving to Georgia with them.
I mean, that's who we are, though. Like any person that shares a passion with us, we get excited. And I know you guys know those people that can go on and on and on for like 20 minutes about what they're passionate about. And the newcomer might be like, okay, like I'm good, but that's just who we are. We're super passionate about this, this is our family. This is what we do. It's not just a hobby. It's like, some of it's like our other life, That's what you get.
That's my fault, Your Majesty. It's totally on me.
Oh, Lord.
When you call out the king, you have to expect him to make a stout drink.
It is. Yeah. It is. We're gonna have to take small sips. Baby sips.
All right.
Moderation.
Okay. All right, yeah, Ulrich, go ahead. Let's slow the questions down a little. Give them a minute.
So right quick, I want to kind of dovetail on what Erik said. Yeah, and you're right, Dalla. We can certainly get deep into the woods sometimes when we're talking to new folks, and sometimes they get deep into the woods with us, and that's just the geek talking to each other. Because if you're interested in this, you're on some level, some version of history geek or sci-fi geek or all of the above, and that's fine. It's why we all get along. So it's just yes, you too, Erik. So it's natural. We just got to make sure that we don't overwhelm people too much. We do that in fighting a lot, where someone comes out, shows a little bit of interest in fighting, and then all of a sudden 6 fighters are around them, all giving them information, and they're just like, I just said, can I see your sword?
Right.
So
and then they go,
we have,
that's a cool sword. Oh my God.
Right. Exactly. All right. But both of you ladies were instrumental, I believe, in the implementation of the Welcome Home program we have here in Meridies. And I know this has been picked up by some other kingdoms, but is that an official part of the kingdom's Shadowlang's responsibilities, or is that something completely separate? There you go. That is a professional right there. Well done, Your Excellency.
Yeah. So we had been approached at one point to include Welcome Home under the Shadowlang umbrella. And we opted not to do that because it was kind of, for us, Welcome Home was a local effort, like a kingdom effort. And not to say that other people couldn't take that on, but it was kind of something that we felt very passionate about. And you're welcome. And we wanted to continue it and help it grow. And there's some aspects of Welcome Home that it's difficult to pass off. I don't know how to explain it. For instance, we raise money to help with some things. And so between the two of us, we're best friends. So we trust each other. Giving that to just, not to say some random person, but there's a level of trust associated with putting your name on something and then allowing someone to take over. will they do it disservice to the group or so? No, it's not. In Meridies, the answer is my long-winded response is that it is not in the Shadowlang purview.
And I would like to add to that too. Like when Her Majesty and I started this, we weren't anybody. Like I think we had our AOAs maybe, and we just started, like as a nobody basically. And I feel like the people that we meet and we want to bring in and have them help with us, they don't have to be an officer. They don't have to be a deputy. Like the people that we have known to love and whatever, they don't have to apply to be in the office to do this. It could be anybody that can help us. You know what I mean? So that's why we also decided, I believe, to keep it out of a major position and just, be on the outside.
Also, then there's reporting.
Oh, gosh.
And we have a book that we keep track of all the money that we raise through whatever formats we're raising. And we also, keep track of the newcomer event fees that we reimburse. And so we are accountable, but we don't want the SCA to be accountable for that because that'll be a whole nother layer of reporting and involvement from the upper people.
Mm-hmm.
I think what you're saying is you like the ownership of it and making sure that it stays true to what you envisioned it to be. Is that roughly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I totally get it.
Put it in 5 words. Way to go.
No. All right. So
we're wordy.
I had to explain when I was Kingdom Seneschal. I had to explain what you guys were doing to my boss, and so
remember
I had to find a concise way of saying it. But no, it's fantastic, and you're absolutely right. Once the bureaucracy of the SCA gets involved, everything changes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's other people doing similar stuff. Osprey is doing a newcomers fund where they do little fundraisers and then they do the reimbursement of the event fees for newcomers down at the events that are down there in that area. Specifically Gadalop, I think, is the big one that they do. And it's really cool. I love that the idea is spreading through throughout the known world.
Mm-hmm.
So then that's the important part, right? Is the idea of being welcoming to newcomers is moving quite along.
Yeah.
Well, it's understandable that you don't want to give up control of it, because if you give up control of it, then someone else can screw it up. I mean, not to put too fine a point on it, and then all that effort that you did, they have tarnished that, and nobody wins when that happens. So that's perfectly understandable. Now, sticking with Welcome Home for just a minute, how did the idea for Welcome Home come about, and how specifically is it funded?
So this was actually, I think that the primary idea came from a knight and his lady down in Trimaris. We were at, what event was it, Dalla?
Was it Panhandle?
Yeah, we were at Panhandle. And they had this little thing set next to a tree of drinks. And nobody's manning it, but just drinks. And it's called Tim's Newcomer Fund, right? Tim and Jennifer's Newcomer Fund.
I believe so, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they did the thing where you would just put money in a cup and you could take a drink. And so we kind of hit them up and asked, what is this? Tell us more. We really love this idea, because at that time we had started doing the newcomers camp already. And so we were just kind of trying to find more ways to be welcoming for people. And so Dalla came up with a really great idea for the name. She made a really cool sign, and we kind of just started going, just ran with it. And we started doing fundraisers with bake-offs. That was the first thing that we did. And it's grown huge since then.
My rum balls are super famous. Everybody loves my balls.
They are. I make good sausage balls too, so we both have good balls.
We're just gonna drink to drink.
It's okay.
I'm just gonna drink to that. You ladies, I'm just going to drink to that.
Ulrich looks like he's bamboozled by your balls.
You have to know my dog farted. He's trying to kill me.
But now I think the last one that we did, we had people donate art, like stuff. And then everyone came and did a silent auction. And and all that money, I think there's been some of these that we've raised like $500.
Oh yeah. Like those are probably, And don't forget the calendars.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of stuff that that we've been able to do because of the generosity of the kingdom. Sometimes people would just walk by and just throw money in there. They're like, I don't need anything.
People throw money at us all the time.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
Go ahead, Ulrich.
All right. Well, I happen to have some of the nice stickers that Osprey is selling that you can hit up. There we are. Hit up Jessica of Osprey, and she will send you stickers for money, and that will go to pay for newcomer stuff. Sorry, just gonna move on. All right, so Meridius and you ladies both seem to be at the forefront of expanding the boundaries and responsibilities of the Shadowlang's office. You have any new ideas in the works? Any cunning plans that you've laid?
That's a really tough question with what's going on right now. I feel like when I started this office, like I was going to take some of Her Majesty's ideas and some of my own ideas, and we're just going to run with it. And I was going to be like, oh yeah. And then the pandemic, and I'm like, well, I can't do that. We can't do that yet. So there's a lot that's been put on hold, but I also feel like there's a lot of awesome things that have come out of the pandemic, like Ellen DeLacy's A&S Tuesdays, where people just kind of hang out every Tuesday. And some people, they can't go to events because of whatever reason. They don't have money or whatever. And so they just go to the Tuesday night hangout on Zoom, and, they get to meet SEA people, ask questions, and just have like a little social gathering. So I feel like a lot of good has come out of it as well. But I still am kind of sad that some of our ideas didn't pan out yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say yet because Countess Dalla had a great thing that she was gonna be doing, and I hope that once events start to happen again, even if she's not in that role, that someone else will take that. But it was like a spotlight, a newcomer. And so we
did do that
a few times before the pandemic happened, but it's tough to continue, when you're not really familiar with the new people, and they may not be reaching out so much. I know that we're getting a lot of people through that Tuesday night social that you're talking about, but it's different still. So, and then we have an initiative that we started a couple years ago with the newcomer camp and the welcome home, and it was the newcomer badge. And so we hope that is going to continue. One really cool thing was that the 2020 Gulf Wars that wasn't, we had actually gotten the Shadowlangs of the other primary kingdoms involved, and they started they were going to start using the badge. So 2019 Gulf Wars, we actually brought a whole bunch of the badges and started passing them out, and we left them up at Troll, and there was quite a few people that
and
were
it was so cool to see people from other kingdoms with our badge on, and I'm like, hey, what kingdom are you from? It was so cool.
So I hope that continues, and it's thanks for putting that up. Yeah. So the badge itself is it's the blue background with the white
Not work.
Not work. Thank you. And it's completely voluntary. So we leave the badges up there. We leave the little form that tells people what it is, and then it's basically like something that a person who's in the SCA, who's been in the SCA and maybe more seasoned, can spot it and then just make sure they're being super welcoming. Like going out of their way to make that person's experience good.
Yeah.
So we've said newcomers a lot.
You did. There's at least 4. All right. Ooh.
I will tell you one thing. So we did, and this might be a little controversial. When we first came out with the newcomers badges, I know you guys are like, when we first came out with them, it was not all awesome, not all positive. There was people in other kingdoms that felt like that would put a target on a new person's back. And so we kind of had to overcome that idea and just make sure that people understood this was completely voluntary. And that people were probably going to be able to spot them as new people anyways, because they might be looking lost, or they might be all by themselves standing off to the side on the fighting field, or they might not recognize them because they've never been to an event before. So it wasn't hard to identify those new people anyways, but this just helps give them the extra layer of making sure that, you're being super awesome. That idea, the badge actually idea came to mind because of a story that happened where a new person came to an event and didn't know the roles associated with like royalty. And so the royals kind of walked by and the new person didn't bow because they're new. And somebody kind of wasn't so nice to them.
And their entourage.
Their entourage person was not nice to them. So it made that person's first and that person didn't look like a newcomer because they love garb, they love to sew. So they had like done a lot of research and put in on this beautiful outfit. And then I guess it was just assumed that they should know because, they're standing next to the king and queen or whatever. So there was reasons behind doing it. And we still firmly support it and hope to continue it once we get back to playing.
But it's also like, hey, newcomers, you get something, like you get a badge. You see all these people wearing favors and badges and stuff. You get one too. And as soon as you are comfortable and don't think yourself a newcomer, you can give it to somebody else, or you can give it away, invite somebody and give it to them. So it's also something for them to keep, a keepsake, or, whatever.
Very cool. So we're going with Erik's hot take number 2. And my hot take number 2 is, I don't care if you think someone has missed a point of courtesy. You are not being more courteous by being a jerk to them.
Agreed.
The end. Now, so back to the questions, because that sort of thing sort of fires me up. That is okay. Approximately how much of your personal time do you spend on the Kingdom Chatelane's office, and what takes up the largest percent of that time?
Oof. So, this might be controversial. So because of the pandemic, it has been, I feel like it's been less work. But I think that the biggest, the most time consuming thing is trying to get reports in on time from the local groups. I'm just going to drink some more for that. Okay. Go ahead, Your Majesty.
I agree with you. The paperwork was, it was a lot of effort. Which truly it doesn't take that much time to do it, but putting all the reports together from the other groups and trying to poke them and make sure that the groups were sending their stuff in on time, and also coordinating demos. We reaching out to places that you're like, hey, this movie theater is having this theme that might be appropriate for, like, they had a medieval showed movie, and so we would get our whole group together and go stand out, outside the movie theater and recruit that way. Or we recruited once at one of the Robins at the Air Force Base. They had like a family day, and so that type of stuff also takes, so not just from the Kingdom Chatelaine perspective, but from the local Chatelaines perspectives, it takes a little bit of time.
Yeah.
What was the rest of that question, Erik?
Well, you sort of answered it. You've answered them together. Like, how much of your personal time do you spend on the office, and then what takes up the most percentage?
Mm-hmm.
We got it.
Are we good? Yeah, right?
We're good.
We're good.
So, what kind of virtual or ESCA kind of activities are there for newcomers? I think, Matt, I think you may have to answer this. I believe Dalla has passed. And she's just gone. She's dead in the ESCA. She swooned.
There's all kinds of things. She mentioned earlier the social that happens on Tuesdays once a month. I know that
every week.
No, once a month. Baron Griffin does like a welcome home, like a big welcoming social. Right. There's a Bardic night on Friday nights. We've got these awesome shows that newcomers can participate in. So not that they're completely tailored to new people, but I would say this is kind of how it works, right? And so this is a perfect thing for a new person to watch, because it helps them learn more about the SCA before they even step foot into an event. And
not just that, but also we've been having online events as well. And we did have like a newcomers thing where they're like, okay, newcomers, like if you're interested in learning about the SCA, like go into this chat room, like during an event. And I hosted one of those. And we had like a Shadowlang, like get together symposium thing through Atlantis and the other Elena, what is it called? Atlantia, that's bless that one. And like we just
had a lot to drink.
Yeah, well, the cat. But yeah, there's been a lot of different things. I personally am so tired of, I'm just ready to see people in person. Like it's been rough on me, really rough, because I am a super social person, and man, this is just it's rough, man.
That's a great segue into another question, maybe.
It really is. So it very much looks like Meridians will have a slow opening with day events and limited attendance. How do you plan to work with walk-ups when events are limited to a specific number of attendees? I mean, I guess you can't just be handing out loner garb.
Right. Well, I was actually talking to Jessica earlier about this question. I'm not on the like opening committee, and I don't really know like all the rules or anything, but I do have ideas on how we could do this. Like maybe we could have a newcomers tent that welcomes them, but we're like, hey, because we're in a pandemic, we're kind of closed, but this is our information, and let me tell you a little bit about the SCA. And if you're interested, like give me your email, I'll get you hooked up to our local group, but I don't know all the rules and stuff,
That's a great, so right now for events, people are going to have to pre-reg. So that's going to be, it's going to be tough for someone that's brand new in the SCA. So I think that your idea for like almost like a welcome home tent or a newcomer's tent at an event would to just be like, if you're not, it could be close to Troll. And if you're not a member, you're not pre-registered and you want to learn more, maybe a handout or something like that, something that they could take with them that's got some information, like the Kingdom website, SCA website, stuff like that. So it's gonna be a little tricky, but we have some really good people in places that have great ideas for new people, like Countess Dalla. So I think that it's gonna be fine. And I think that people are gonna love. I think that people that are now like getting involved in the ESCA are going to love it even more when they go to an event. They're going to just like,
oh yeah,
they're going to understand the magic of why we're doing what we do, why we dedicate so much time to our hobby.
I think the walk up tent, because you're right, Umesh. We're going to have people who walk up to our events when we start to have them, and everything is going to have to be go through registration. You have to register ahead of time for events for the opening up plan currently. So having a way to deal with folks who show up, I think, is a fantastic idea. One of the things that I literally thought of just sitting here, we've had so many new folks that have joined and may pre-register and go to events when we start having them again, that may need some kind of gold key or something. Perhaps if when we do that portion of the pre-registration, if we make a way for them to mark that they're new and need something.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That might not be a bad idea. I don't know.
Do you need garb? Yes or no?
Right. So there's Ulrich's hot take.
Or maybe
it's not really that hot.
So off of that, are you a newcomer that would need garb? Yes or no? And if it's yes, maybe have a pull down of sizes so we know beforehand. So we don't have to bring the 20 tubs of loner garb for one person. Maybe.
Well, I don't know that we want to hand them just a generic loner garb, because that stuff can be, maybe some type of way of working out with someone to meet up, because
coordinate at the local level.
There you go. Thank you. So what do you see as your biggest challenge going forward?
It's not hard.
No. Engaging people, keeping their interests and keeping them in love with the SCA beyond that initial wow, the awe factor of holy cow, what am I watching? Or if they were like me, I had never even heard of the SCA until I had met my husband, and he was like, hey, I have this thing that I want you to come see, and so he was able to keep me involved in that way. But there's a lot of people that don't have that. So we want to definitely try to encourage people to have fun and encourage people to find something that they love to do while they're at events, whatever that may be, and just be awesome to each other.
So for me, when Her Majesty and I do our little classes with Shadowlangs and all that, we have the 3 I's: the introduce, integrate, and invest. And I think for me, the hardest part, I'm really good at introducing people to the SCA. I'm really good at integrating them and making them feel welcome and telling them all about the things, and hey, let's go have feasts, and hey, here's equestrian. But the hardest part for me is investing, because helping them to find a specific hobby or something that they're interested in. For me, honestly, that's the hardest part. I can introduce them to people, but that's as far as it really goes, So investing in these newcomers and making sure that they stick with it because they found something they're passionate about, that's the hardest part for me. Drink, Ulrich.
I can't. My mug is broken and is being replaced currently. It has been emptied.
Which actually is a really great segue to this next question, which is a multi-parter. And as such, I would like to remind you that this is a perfect opportunity to get a number of references to the key drinking words here, because you'll be able to frame it with all of the parts of this question.
Go ahead. Yeah.
What is the most difficult, the most fun, and the most rewarding part of your job?
I'm bamboozled by that question. I'll let Her Majesty answer first.
Well, I am passionate about new people. So for me, hold on. That's 2 drinks. Goodness.
Y'all don't have to let him tell you what to do. He's not your supervisor.
Oh, I know, but it's fun. It's all in good fun. For me, the most difficult part of the Shadowlang role was actually follow-up, because we meet so many people, and we're also still wanting to do our own things, right? So like I love doing certain things at SCA events. I do some combat archery, and so I might not be around. So follow-up for me is the most difficult part of being a Shadowlang, is just getting back to the people that you've introduced to the SCA and making sure they're having a good time and they have what they want. But again, I am passionate about newcomers. And so I think that if you do what you love, it will show and people will kind of flock to it. So you had to fill your glass again? My goodness.
She said we're chumped.
Bamboozled that you're going to drink that whole bottle. Holy cow.
It wasn't a whole bottle when I started, FYI.
Well, it's not a whole bottle now. That's pretty good.
Were you? I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah. Were you done? I'm sorry, you're much.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. So the hardest part for me is paperwork, because that's all it really is right now. It's a bunch of paperwork. Like, I just want to love on new people right now, like in person. That's what I want to do. So that's the hardest part for me right now. The most fun was when I got to meet the new people and like show them, hey, this is a bardic circle, and just like get the look on their faces like, oh, this is so cool, you know. And I feel like that's also the most rewarding, is when the newcomer like realizes what we're really about, but also when the newcomer is no longer a newcomer and they're like, you watch them, you know, like grow in the SCA and do some amazing things, and you're like, oh my goodness, like look at all that passion that newcomer has. Like, it's amazing.
Bamboozling even.
Damn it. Oh, you guys are good.
Yeah, we are.
That was a great answer.
Oh,
I can tell you're really passionate.
Oh.
Okie dokie.
We love that fun.
That's why we were
good?
invited.
Absolutely. Are we good? Can I move to the next question, or are you going to try and bamboozle me some more?
I mean,
right.
I guess.
So, if you have someone who's interested in serving, becoming a local Chatelaine, helping the local or Kingdom Chatelaine out, what advice would you have for those folks?
It's all you, Dalla.
So, I love help. I'm okay with anybody that wants to help. If they want to help man a newcomer booth, or just welcome people, or point them in the right direction, like, even if when I'm not Chatelaine, like, anybody can help out with newcomers as long as they love people. Like, don't, volunteer if you're not a people person. You have to have patience because they don't know anything. You have to have some knowledge of things. And if you don't, you got to be able to point them in the right direction. You don't have to be a novice at the SCA to be awesome with newcomers. Like, you just need to be awesome with people. That's it. That's my answer.
That's like the perfect answer. I can't follow that.
Oh,
I'm bamboozled.
Excellent. So now we have a disclaimer for our audience that we give every show, which is not a question, but a declarative statement. If you're feeling bamboozled, this is how we do things in Meridia's. And so you're probably feeling bamboozled because you're from another kingdom. And every kingdom is different, but I'm certain that all kingdoms are passionate about their newcomers.
Wow. This drink is not tasting so strong anymore.
That That's a signature of a quality drink, Your Majesty.
It is. Well done.
He makes good drinks.
He does. So I want to point out that Eric's having a lot of fun because he can't drink alcohol yet. So he's just torturing us.
Well, I'm
Wow.
torturing Ulrich. You guys are
Hey,
laughing.
payback, buddy. Payback. All right.
There's a bottle of tequila with your name on it.
That's
There's so many bottles of tequila with my name on it.
All right, so we're into our myths and misconceptions portion of the show. And I'm going to actually go with one that's not on this list.
Oh, crap.
This is really more of a question of, so how do you deal with an overzealous helper? You know, we occasionally get those folks in the SCA that are super hyped to help and maybe a little too hyped to help. And you need them to dial it back, a notch or two, sometimes 7. So how do you handle that?
No, don't dial it back, because that's what Shadowlanes are all about. We are the hype. We are the welcome committee. We are the cheerleaders. I mean, I could understand if it was like, let's help in the kitchen with feast. Oh my God, that's so much fun. Yay, let's cut up all the things. No, we want them with the Shadowlanes. They belong there. I don't know. I've not ever met somebody that was way too hype that I didn't want yet. So it's kind of hard for me to conceive that idea. But maybe Her Majesty.
No, I don't. I agree. I also think they usually have really great ideas because they're coming from a new perspective. Like you've maybe been staring at the screen forever, and then they have a different perspective that they bring into it. So
they're
like
fresh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. I don't know that I would dial it back. I think that we need the, maybe not in your face. I mean, I guess that's a great, so here's the thing. Here's the caveat to that, Ulrich. If someone is perhaps being a little bit I mean, not everyone's people are going to jive. The words are not coming out that, you don't speak the same language as everyone else.
Right.
And so, so sometimes there is hey, maybe redirecting those people might be, let's focus our energy. You're doing this and you can still help with new people. And how about I get you to help with this? So you can kind of redirect their energy as far as that goes.
Agreed.
Great answer. Refocus. There you go. That's fantastic.
This is my 3-legged cat.
Oh, wait,
sweet.
whoa. Hi. Oh, how pretty.
Gray.
Is the cat's name
Oh,
Gray?
what a sweet kitty.
Yes, his name is Gray, after Grey's Anatomy. Mm-hmm.
He looks like a very good boy.
Because
This'll
he
be
got
the
his
cat
arm
moment.
amputated. Yeah. Whole arm. This one.
He doesn't care. Just pet me.
He's like,
Right.
just from my head. Just from my head.
My bad.
Oh, wait. No. Again, pets showing up is usually the best part of the show. Speaking of which, where's Mal?
Mal, when he farted, so my dog has this horrible problem when he farts. When he farts, he looks back at his butt like his butt has done something horrible, because it has, and it offends him, and then he gets up and leaves the present for us.
He crop dusts you.
He crop dusts me all the
crop
freaking time.
We need like a little icon that pops up for when you get crop dusted.
No,
It's like a puppy that fires across the room.
you'll see it on my face because it's something like this.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've seen that face a few times.
Right.
I was like,
that's
what is
we're
he
saying.
doing?
Jessica, we need some kind of graphic like that. You can do anything.
Like a green gas cloud coming up behind Ulrich.
Or
A puppy,
it
a
covers
puppy in a
the whole screen.
biplane. A puppy in a biplane flying over him and leaving like a cloud behind it. That would be perfect.
Oh.
Yes.
I
And the
love
whole
and hate
screen
people.
goes green.
It must be done.
Hey, Katerina, let's go to the live feed questions.
Oh lordy.
So we're gonna move to the live feed questions. Erik gets the first one.
Okay. Well, the first one is from a gentleman that you might be familiar with. What can the general populace do to help make the Shadowlang's job easier? And this was asked by some yeoman named Tim Burris, who sounds remarkably similar to His Royal Majesty.
Not just be excellent to each other. That's one
Party
thing.
on.
That's one thing. Yeah, that's one thing that the general populace can do to make a Shadowlang's job easier. Now, and he's asking more questions. He's over here trying to get serious.
I would like to add to that, though. So if you are interested in helping out or whatever, like not just making our job easier, but like helping, like, hey, there's a newcomer tent. Let me put some time at that so that Shadowlang or whoever doesn't have to stay there all day long and can actually go do some of their things too. Or, hey, I see that there's a silent auction and I know how to make blah. Let me like donate some stuff. Or whatever you feel like you can do, or even if you just have an idea, like give it to us. We are the gung-ho cheerleaders for the SCA, and we want to know. We want your help, and we want your ideas.
I'm all about making blah. I can make the heck out of some blah. Sign me up for making blah. All right. So His Majesty's second question, which is, what are the things that people do, even with the best of intentions, that often make the Shadowlang's job more difficult?
Maybe not giving them correct information. If you don't know the answer to something, you need to say, hey, it's totally okay to say, hey, I don't know the answer to that. Let me point you in the direction to someone that does. Yeah. And so, that can make it, if a new person comes in and gets fed all of this information from someone that might not necessarily be accurate, that can make the Shadowlang's job a lot harder.
Yeah. That's the only thing I can think of. Yeah.
What else, Dalla? Anything else you can think of?
I mean, honestly, like, I've never had that issue pop up where somebody made my job harder, unless, nope, I'm not going to go there. But I think...
Okay. No.
Not going to go there. But I think that your answer was best, and I will just agree with you, Your Majesty. You're wise one. Yes. Ow.
Almost. We almost had her. She almost spilled the beans on us.
Not going to do it.
So when I was first in the SCA, and that was a really long time ago. But
it's story time with Erik.
My very first event, someone dumped every one of their own personal biases and angers and about the SCA, like all on me at once, like wham. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know any better, so I just assumed it was the truth. Like,
yeah, and you know what? There's a lot of negativity that goes around. If you don't like the SCA, don't push your negativity on other people. Like, if you see something wrong, because it's happening a lot, like on the internet, like, oh, blah, 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 whatever. Like, don't dog the SCA when you're in the SCA. And if you're not in the SCA, then you shouldn't be on the pages. Just leave it alone. Keep your opinions to yourself. Like, let us have our joy. You have your joy, whatever it is. Like, let's just all be happy. Like, stop being so negative. Be positive. Because there were some things that you loved about the SCA. Why don't you just talk about that? That's it. I'm drunk now, so I can't, I don't have a filter anymore.
I think that is a phenomenal answer. I mean, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. And then what we really want to say, but we can't say, is, why, if you hate the SCA so much, why are you still involved?
I mean, I did just say it, so. Yeah.
Right. It's one thing to believe a situation is a problem that we should constructively work to fix it, and it's another to just be constantly negative while never trying to actually fix the problem, because negativity is your personality. So, sorry, all right. Ulrich just sort of shot me a look like, wow.
Well,
No. It's fine. It's fine.
You're 100% right. I mean, and that's something that can be a real turnoff for a new person who's looking for a hobby, who's looking for something to enjoy. So,
yep. Enough of the negative vibes, Moriarty.
So I'm gonna go to Owen McKenna's question that has only taken me 6 months to pronounce correctly. When talking to a new person about the SCA, what are the top 5 things you think they need to know?
Maybe if you see someone with a pointy hat, a little bow.
I would just tell them to go to the newcomer class. Boom. Covers it all.
But maybe there's not a newcomer class at the event. So
there should be.
Another thing is, we want you to make an attempt at looking like a medieval person when you come to events.
Here's what the belts mean. Here's what the pointy hats mean. This is the king and queen.
And it's okay to ask questions. If you don't know the answer, hopefully the jerk faces are seeing their ways out. And and that leaves us with, good people who are not going to belittle someone for not looking, not having nice garb or not doing the right things. So it's okay to ask questions, and it's okay to dabble in all this stuff. You don't have to pick one thing and choose it and just keep moving forward. You can try a little of everything.
Absolutely. All right. So we have a question from someone who's on our show staff who doesn't know that they're currently posting as Hound and Stag and not as themselves. So from Hound and Stag Presents, what are your sanitizing concerns for the loner garb when we're returning? A way to keep it, deal with the loner garb in a pandemic, essentially.
It's definitely is going to need to be laundered.
Bagged and laundered.
And that's going to have to be a time period, maybe with an exchange that happens prior to the event, prior to when the garb is needed.
And I feel like that's already, we already clean it after use anyways. It's not like we're like, oh, hey, this guy wore this tunic yesterday. Here you go. It's like, hey, you get these clothes all weekend long. And when they return them, they do get clean. But I'm not really sure, what we're going to do with that. I'm sure that their majesties will think of some brilliant rules to ensure the safety of our citizens.
Oh, Lord.
No pressure, Your Majesty.
Right. I think that if they use it, so this is from a mundane perspective, but like if you make a return back to a store, the store puts the stuff to the side for a time period before they actually put it back on the shelf. So that same principle can be applied with regards to garb for new people.
All right. Well, that's the last of our live feed questions, and everyone's handled everything wonderfully. No one was overly bamboozled. Everyone was passionate about helping newcomers, so it's all wonderful.
It was wonderful.
All those newcomers, everybody's passionate about the newcomers.
Absolutely. For the record, I think you ladies have broken the record for making me drink in one night already.
Yeah.
We also like to party.
La-di-da-di. We love to potty. Anyway, right. Is there anything that we haven't covered on the show about the Chatelaine's office or anything along those lines that you'd like to Sorry,
Just go.
the chat
Keep moving.
broke me up. Anything that you'd like to cover that you think we may have missed along the way?
I would like to say that honestly, I feel like there's not enough people that volunteer to be a Shadowlang at the local or the kingdom level. And it's really, I mean, it's one of the most important jobs because we are basically recruiting the future. And I feel like there is a need. We have a need. And a lot of groups don't even have Shadowlang. So the Seneschal has to do the reporting and all the stuff, and it doesn't get as much attention as it needs. So I feel like if you are a people person, start at the local level and work your way up, because it's not a hard job to be a Kingdom Chatelaine. It really isn't. And it is very rewarding. So we do need more people. And that's what I would say.
How do I follow? Jeez. You've become like all
Shadowlaney.
awesome. I mean, you're 100% right as far as, making sure that, because what's that saying? Everyone's a Shadowlane. Everyone in the SCA should be welcoming to everyone else. You should always be trying to extend out a welcoming hand to a newcomer.
Or a ham. If you have a ham, you can give them
hams,
one. It's fine.
Whatever. We got 2 hams. No, I'm just kidding. But it's definitely, something that anybody can do, I think. Even if you're an introvert, somebody that's more reserved or doesn't like to be around a whole lot of people, you can still do some of these things and task other people, kind of delegate your jobs out to people on a local level. And people love to feel empowered. So I think that anybody can do this, and definitely getting more people to participate is going to make it easier for everybody. Mm-hmm. It's not like the Kingdom Seneschal job, where you're dealing with all the fun stuff. This is a very, very, very awesome and rewarding role in the SCA. So
it is, and both of you have done fantastic jobs with it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We're really lucky that we both have that passion and that we have the idea market, behind us that's kind of helping to fund us. So.
And like we always say, it is really you guys that are helping us out, especially like with Welcome Home, because we wouldn't be able to do it if it wasn't, if it wasn't for such a generous kingdom. Like, you guys give your time, your money, your, everything, so that we can reimburse the newcomers, so that we can feed them, so that we can do all that. So if we weren't in this kingdom, I don't think it would work, because Meridies really is like the southern hospitality of the kingdom. Like, you guys are amazing, and it's because of you guys that we're able to do this.
Now we're at the point of the show where we like to give shout outs to people who are doing good things or producing other shows for online content. And I had the perfect shout out that I wrote down on a piece of paper because I knew I'd forget it, and then I forgot the piece of paper, so I have no idea who I'm going to shout out. So because of that, instead, I want to say very much a heartfelt get well to Mistress Dalla, who has had a stint in the hospital, and unfortunately she is out, but we're all thinking about you, and we hope you get better, and we hope you're back on your feet real soon. We love you, Francis.
There's also a homecoming social this weekend. Homecoming social this weekend. There it is. Boom. Woot woot.
That's your shout out?
That's mine.
Okay.
You can have one all on your own.
I can't believe you just stole my shout out, man.
Love you.
Oh, I love you. Because we're so passionate about newcomers, I want to give a shout out to all of the people doing their best to make the SCA a better place. Whether it's just empowering other people or doing, supporting someone's need for assistance if they have a flat tire, or just the SCA is so full of awesome people. I couldn't possibly give a shout out to one individual, just because I think that we are full of love for each other, a big family, and I just thank all of you for being as awesome as you are.
Yay.
I'm going to go with a newcomer's focus shout out myself, and that is to the Barony of Thor's Mountain, and they have a special set of gold key there that's both identifies their newcomers when they show up. It's all uniform, so you can tell all of their people wearing gold key have the same style of garb, and it's a fantastic idea. It's sort of like the badges that y'all came up with, only it's specific to that group. So well done on them. And my other little shout out is a little bit for our Saturday show. Since our Saturday is the Meridian Social, you can catch Hound and Stag reviews, Meridian fighting videos on the social this weekend. We won't do a regular show. We're just going to do a Zoom Zoom room there, and you guys can join us there if you'd like.
Ooh,
so,
fun.
There's that. All right. So a special thanks to both of you for joining us. It's been wonderful to have you here. You've been fantastic guests, and I am rather inebriated. Thank you to both of you. You're both very passionate about newcomers.
We
Mm-hmm.
We'd like to give a thanks to our support crew. Her Ladyship Jessica of Osprey, who controls the horizontal and the vertical. Mistress Adriana for her script writing. Her Excellency Katerina for keeping us on time. Lord Kikuchi for helping me pick out mics and cameras in his tech work. And to Lady Margaret for doing our promo work. And most importantly, to you, the audience, without whom we would just be sitting here, the four of us sitting around watching, well, actually, like the six of us with the ones behind the screens, chatting about newcomers, which will be fun, but not as beneficial to everyone else, or at least I think so. But I'm drunk and listens to me. Oh, that's a beautiful puppers.
And that's Dalla's third animal that's come into the stream.
Buddy.
You won a prize for that.
I want a prize.
What a happy puppy.
That's
maybe
Lucy.
the most pets by one person.
Be careful, Dalla will come out.
What about Ysmay?
Nope.
So I'm contractually obligated to note that Her Ladyship Jessica runs the entire world, whether you know it or not, and we're all thankful for her doing it. Next week, we'll review the offices of the Minister of Children and the office of the Chronicler with, oh boy, here we go, Maestra Dianora Elizabetta di Cellini.
Cellini.
Yeah.
I was almost there. The Honorable Lady Jane Wolfton, thank you for your name. And Lady Deidre Turner. Please join us Saturdays for the Hound and Stag Fighting Review. Thanks, everybody, for coming.
All right. So if you're watching at home on where else would you be watching from? If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe down here. Smash that bell. Get the notification. There we go. Get the notifications. Help us raise our profile. If you're watching on Facebook, follow and like up here, and we'll hopefully see you guys soon. Bye, everyone.
If you're watching live, give us about 5 minutes for a break, and then feel free to join us on Zoom for the after show. Watch the live feed comments on Facebook for the link. We'll hang out and chat for about a half an hour after the show. Graf and Katarina will post it now.
And now, goodbye,
Now
everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Hi, guys. Love you.
Bamboozling.
And if I die in battle, tomorrow I'll be home, though it's 70 days march to there from Rome. But a soul travels swiftly on the night wind, and if I die in battle, I'll be home again.